Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a little X-Men 97 review, and I will admit this is going to be really short and brief. I'm going to try to keep it as quick and to the point as possible because X-Men 97 was a really good show. They did a whole lot of things in it, and as much as I was a really big fan of it, and I liked each individual episode, I feel like this show shoved a lot of storylines and plots into a single season of television, and it stressed me out. So I've watched it. I've watched some of the episodes multiple times. I've spent at least the last 24 hours thinking about how I'm going to review this movie, the show, and I'm struggling right now. So I think I might do something for the first time ever on this channel, and I might make a live stream where I just discuss X-Men 97 for a full hour straight so I can get into every single individual detail that I want to talk about. But that being said, I'm going to do a brief overview of the entire show, give my review for the entire season, and like I said, I'm going to try to keep it brief. I'm also going to try to keep it relatively spoiler-free. But that being said, if you haven't seen up to episode 5, I would recommend clicking off this video, probably watching it later. I believe episode 5 is where one of the really big things happens that I am definitely going to be getting into. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive into this review. So, I'm going to start off talking about the first couple of episodes and the middle set of episodes and the last set of episodes, just kind of go through them as quickly as possible, like the show seemed to do. That's one of my main complaints I'm going to talk about with the show overall. I did like this show. I think that they did a lot of really good things. The animation style was cool. I love the fact that they added in some extra characters who are Marvel characters who aren't necessarily X-Men, because getting to see, you know, moments like when the Morph turned into the Hulk, that was really cool. We got to see Spider-Man, we got to see Daredevil in action, we got to see Captain America, we got to see Tony Stark, we got to see King T'Chaka, and it is really, really nice being able to see Marvel characters interact with other Marvel characters who have previously been a part of different studios. As somebody who is a diehard Marvel fan and has been a Marvel fan my entire life, I remember back when I was younger, one of my favorite video games ever to play was some like Marvel's Conquest video game that was on the Wii, where you can play as characters like the Silver Surfer alongside of like Spider-Man and stuff like that. And they had a story mode where we got to be the X-Men characters fighting alongside the Avengers, and it was so cool. And I remember growing up and being like, why do these characters never interact? So it was really nice seeing these characters interact. And I really liked all the stuff, like I said, with us being able to see Daredevil and him fighting along people in New York for the short period of time we saw him. I'm really happy we had like entire sequences with Captain America, and I really hope that going forward we could potentially see even more interactions like that, because, like I said, it's so nice seeing Marvel characters interact with Marvel characters. It's one of the big things about the Fox acquisition that has been throwing me off so much, because I'm like, I understand that they can't immediately go around and make X-Men movies, but come on, can we just get one X-Men character to show up in one of these other movies? Because it would be so cool. But that being said, talking about X-Men 97 specifically, I think that they did a lot of interesting things that I really liked, and I think that they did a lot of things that I wasn't a fan of, and the main thing is the pacing. This show was 10 episodes long. Each episode was about 30 minutes long, so you put that all together, it's going to be, what, about like 300 minutes, something like that. Is that right? I feel like that, yeah, that should be right, about 300 minutes, and that's about 6 hours worth of content, and overall, hold up, it should be about 5 hours worth of content. Yeah, it's 5 hours worth of content. I just did really bad math, I'm sorry. And they went through like 6 major comic events, I feel like, something like that, because we had the Inferno storyline, we had the Life Death storyline, which I think that of all of these that they kind of speed ran, I think that the Life Death one makes sense, because the Life Death one, I believe in the comics, is like at least 20 comics or something like that, or I think there was probably shorter runs of it, but when I think of it, I think about like there's like 10-15 comics you got to read to understand that full story, and for them to break that down into 2 episodes and for it to actually work for the most part, I really liked that. I thought that they did a good job with that. The fact that they were doing all of this stuff with Bastion, the fact that they were making Sinister kind of seem like he was going to be the main villain for a while, the stuff that they did with Genosha being massacred is crazy. They did so much in such a short period of time, and as much as I really liked it, and I liked the fact that it was action-packed and it was paced and it was just going and going and going and going and gone, it does kind of annoy me, because I am a big fan of filler episodes, and particularly, especially with stuff like this where it's a cartoon, there are so many cartoon filler episode tropes that I really wish we got to see. The couple of moments that we got to see with them playing basketball was fun. We could have gone a little bit more of that. I feel like there was definitely, should have been an entire episode dedicated to just the love triangle of what was going on with Magneto and Rogue and Gambit. That was a really cool, interesting concept, and the fact that they kind of like only used it for the 1 episode or the 2 episodes that it was a part of kind of disappointed me. I feel like there was more that could have happened there. Stuff with Wolverine. Wolverine did not have a lot of screen time in this entire season, which I'm okay. I understand that on the live action stuff, Wolverine showed up in 10 movies, and they basically made X-Men, the live action X-Men universe was basically just Wolverine and friends. So like, I understand not wanting to focus on Wolverine too much, but that being said, Wolverine is one of the only characters here who did not really have a chance to shine. I feel like every single episode was kind of like dedicated to specific characters. Professor X had a pretty big episode that was mostly him. Storm had her life-death sequences, which were really cool. The Mojo episode was a big Jubilee episode. Rogue had multiple really great moments to shine. We had an entire episode where Nightcrawler just completely went off, which I was a huge fan of. I was so excited about that. And Gambit had his own episode. There was just so many characters getting their chance to shine, and I really feel like Wolverine was so underutilized in this season. So I'm hoping that next season, with the kind of the what's it called, the arc that they have kind of set up for him, like the little journey that he's going to go on next season, I think it's going to be really cool. I really am intrigued to see what's going to happen with him specifically, because when they did the giant cliffhanger thing, I don't think they showed him at all, which I am incredibly intrigued about, because where is he? He's okay, right? But overall, that's a very minor nitpicky thing. They have like 10 major characters that they're introducing in the show. It's going to be hard to give every single one of them the spotlight. But that being said, they did give the majority of them the spotlight, which I do really like. The fact that they were able to do everything with Madeline Pryor, pretty cool. Like I said, I really liked how they started off this show. I really like the fact that they did the Madeline Pryor thing right off the bat, and how they did not stray away from how weird that comics thing is, where she becomes the like Inferno Queen and she basically just brings them to hell. That's pretty cool. I loved everything with that episode where they're showing everybody their biggest fears. And something that I liked about that episode as well, if we're tying it into the life-death episodes that were a little bit later, is we see a lot of these X-Men facing their biggest fears during that moment. And we see a lot of like creepy stuff with Mr. Sinister. And Storm, during this time, is off on her own, kind of doing her own thing because she just lost her powers. And whenever we see her again, she does get to face her biggest fears with the adversary, and they do a lot of really cool stuff with that, which I really like. I think that for the most part, everything with Storm's character works really well. There was a line that was spoken by Forge that is so insanely good that I gotta say this. This show has incredible writing. Whether you're a fan of like the soap opera type of stuff that goes on with the X-Men sometimes, you got to admit the writing for all of the love stories and the love triangles and all the jealousy and everything that's happening with it, and how it's so like dramatic and over the top, is fantastic. I loved everything about the writing. But the line that Forge said that like was so good, I literally had to pause the show when it happened. He said, "I could live an infinite lifetime," and wait, no, he said something about he could live forever, and even in his infinite imagination, he would never be able to conceive something as perfect as Storm. If someone said that to me, I am proposing on the spot. That was incredible. That was such a well-written line, and the way that he said it was fantastic, and Storm bitch slapped him after that. That was so funny. That was so cool, but I literally had to pause it after he said that, because I was like, oh, that's so good. That's so deep. But yeah, the writing on the show was incredible. There was a lot of really great moments for people to shine. Everything going on with Roberto and Sunspot was fantastic. I love Roberto and I love Sunspot, and I'm glad that they're making him kind of a bigger player in these, because I think that whenever the X-Men starts up again in live action, I want him to be one of the focal characters. I want him to be kind of like the one who we're seeing things through, because the way that they should do the X-Men movies obviously should be like there's a newcomer who's joining the X-Mansion, and then obviously there should already be an established team as far as I'm concerned. And doing it with a character like Roberto and Sunspot would be really cool. I think that he's a very complicated backstory, and his like family life is very interesting, and it would be something really cool to dive into. So I would like that. I think that would be great. After watching this show, I will say this. I hope that when we get Rogue in the MCU and we get her in live action, that she's an adult. Because her being an adult and actually like knowing how to control her powers and being able to be an offensive weapon is so cool. It's so nice. Watching her fly around as Captain Marvel and then do like the Hulk clap and stuff like that in the final episode. So many epic action sequences. I think that that's one thing that you got to give props to this show. Some of the greatest action sequences I've ever seen, literally ever. I haven't seen Invincible, so if Invincible has, you know, action sequences that are on par or even better than this, I'm sorry, I haven't watched those. But overall, just incredible fight sequences. The way that they work together as a team is so well done and is on display incredibly well. I like the fact that we get to see the throwback uniforms. I still, like, I'll be honest, I need to rewatch those episodes because I don't remember why they threw on the throwback uniforms. But Wolverine in that brown costume looked really good. Cyclops in his OG costume. What's it called? Jean Grey in her OG costume. It was really cool. It was really nice seeing the majority of them throw on those old costumes, and it was really cool. Nightcrawler is done so justice in this. Oh my god. All I'm gonna say, if we don't get Nightcrawler with swords, fighting with swords in live action anytime, I'm going to cry, because getting to see him be like a proper like brawler like he is so fun, because I've always imagined him being like kind of like a pirate type character. He's like swashbuckler. Was that term used correctly? I don't know. But getting to see him in the show was fantastic. Gambit was so good, and I loved everything they did with him. I think that his death sequence was perfectly played out. I think that if you're going to kill off a character, give him a giant moment like that. Give him a great sacrifice. Make him have such a huge, prominent final episode. Like that last episode was so much about him, and it was incredible. And getting to have him go through that little conflict that he had with Rogue, where like he's, you know, telling her how like some things are deeper than skin, like we're in love with each other, it's a very deep connection, and like just because we can't physically touch doesn't mean we shouldn't be together. And then him willing to sacrifice himself for all of mutant kind, and specifically to save Rogue at the very end of his life, was just so good. And I'm really intrigued to see what they're going to do with him. I know that in the comics, Genosha, they have like a lot of stuff going on with like reincarnation and people just coming back to life and stuff like that, and I think they're going to get into that, because they have not shied away from even some of the weirdest comic stuff in this show. So I'm excited about it. I think that's great. It's going to be a great season 2. This first season was really good. Like I said, the main problem I had with it is they shoved a whole lot of stories into a really short amount of episodes. So I hope that next season they kind of focus on like maybe like 2 big stories, as opposed to Magneto was right, and what's it called? The stuff with Bastion, the stuff with Mr. Sinister, which I understand, like they used Mr. Sinister kind of as a puppet, which was cool. And I do like the fact that we got to see what's it called? We got to see Morph kind of like get his payback on Sinister finally, because he got to show Sinister his old senile self and be like, this is what you've always looked like. Fantastic. The stuff with Genosha, the stuff with Madeline Pryor, which she's gone too soon. Can I say that? Like, are they going to bring her back? Is she literally legitimately dead? Because, like, oh my god. They gave her, like, a 2-episode arc. She has so much cool stuff that she does in the comics. And the fact that we didn't get to see Havoc and, like, them hook up. Like, there's so much drama that happens with them in the comics. And I'm sad that we're not getting that. But that being said, overall, I thought the series was great. I had a really good time with it. I really liked it. Hopefully next season, I know it's already written, can we please get a filler episode? Just one filler episode that's them having fun, everything's peaceful, everything's light and sunny, and everything's gonna be okay. Because as much as I like the on the run stuff, it's also nice seeing them just like gather around and have a good time. So that being said, that's everything I had to say here today. I love and appreciate you guys so much for coming by and checking out this video. You guys are amazing. You guys are the reason I do this. Sorry that my content has been super consistent the last week or so. I'm trying to get back into it. I've had a lot of different issues going on recently, so hopefully the majority of them are solved now, and I could move on and get better. But yeah, this weekend's going to be huge for people who want to know my upcoming slate for my videos. I'm going to be watching the If movie tonight, and I'm going to be doing a movie review of it probably tomorrow. I'm planning on going to watch The Strangers Chapter 1 and the Back to Black Amy Winehouse movie on Sunday, so both movie reviews for that are probably going to be Monday and Tuesday next week, and then my Watch This Wednesday will be coming back with a very fun movie. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's going to be a fun one. And then I'm also going to be reacting to the Agatha Coven of Chaos trailer. It's now called Agatha All Along, whenever that comes out. So stay tuned for all those videos. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. I love and appreciate you guys for sticking around and giving me the love and support that you guys always do. But that being said, I'm going to head out now. Peace out. Wow.